What if the most innocent character in TV history was actually a nightmare behind the scenes? Everyone adored Radar O'Reilly, but on the set of MASH, Alan Alda was forced to issue a chilling warning that changed their relationship forever. Today, we reveal the moment the laughter stopped. When you think of the legendary sitcom MASH, you instantly picture the sprawling tents, the olive drab helicopters, and the undeniable camaraderie of the 4077th Mobile Army Surgical Hospital. The show was a cultural monolith, blending the horrific realities of the Korean War with a biting, unparalleled comedic wit. At the absolute center of this moral compass was Walter Eugene O'Reilly, affectionately known to the world as Radar. Played brilliantly by Gary Burghoff, Radar was the quintessential farm boy from Ottumwa, Iowa. He slept with a teddy bear. He drank grape nehi. He possessed a supernatural, almost telepathic ability to hear incoming medical choppers long before the sirens ever wailed. For the viewing public, Gary Burghoff simply was Radar. The line between the actor and the character was completely blurred in the eyes of millions. But the reality of what was happening when the cameras stopped rolling is one of television's darkest and most heavily guarded secrets. What we are exploring today is known in the industry as the sweetness paradox. It is the jarring, almost unbelievable contrast between a universally beloved, innocent on-screen persona and a documented history of intense, behind-the-scenes friction that nearly tore a masterpiece apart. To truly understand the explosion that was about to happen on set, we need to go back to the beginning. Gary Burghoff was incredibly unique among the cast of the MASH television series. He was the only primary actor to successfully transition from Robert Altman's gritty, cynical 1970 feature film to the sanitized but still poignant television adaptation on CBS. Because of this, Burghoff carried a certain amount of prestige. He knew the character of Radar inside and out. He had defined the mannerisms. But this advantage quickly morphed into a profound psychological burden. While Radar was supposed to be a naive, fresh-faced 18-year-old kid drafted into a bloody conflict, Gary Burghoff was actually a man approaching his 30s when the show truly took off. He was an adult dealing with adult problems, yet he was contractually obligated to regress into a childlike state for millions of viewers every single week. This immense cognitive dissonance began to manifest in incredibly destructive ways. According to multiple cast and crew members, Burghoff developed a reputation that stood in absolute, staggering opposition to the character he played. While Radar was selfless and eager to please, Burghoff became known as exceptionally difficult, demanding, and fiercely moody. He cultivated a toxic environment on a set that was already under the immense pressure of network censorship battles and grueling, 14-hour filming days. The stories from the soundstages of the 20th Century Fox lot paint a picture of a man who was deeply unhappy and constantly on the defensive. In a famous TV Guide article published as the series was wrapping up its legendary 11-year run, writer Bert Perlutsky broke the unspoken rule of Hollywood and finally put the swirling rumors to print. He wrote that while nobody wanted to be quoted on the record, the feelings regarding Gary Burghoff's departure from the series were absolutely unanimous among the cast. The exact quote from an anonymous principal cast member was devastating. They said, "Loved Radar, hated Burghoff." The crew detailed how Gary had profound personality problems. He operated under the constant, paranoid delusion that there was a massive conspiracy against him, orchestrated by the producers and his fellow actors. He would frequently be rude to everyone from the lighting technicians to the high-profile guest stars. And if anyone dared to push back or call him out on his behavior, he would throw massive, highly disruptive tantrums that brought multi-million-dollar productions to a screeching halt. The tension was palpable. There is a legendary story involving Mike Farrell, the deeply empathetic actor who played BJ, Honeycutt. Farrell, trying to act as a peacemaker, pulled Burghoff aside one day between takes. He looked Gary in the eye and told him flat out that his biggest problem was that he could dish it out, but he simply could not take it. Burghoff's response was a masterclass in aggressive oblivion. Without missing a single beat, Gary snapped back, saying, "And I'm getting real sick and tired of dishing it out." The actor was so completely wrapped up in his own misery that he didn't even realize the absurdity of his own complaint. He was alienating his only allies, one by one. But wait. Just as the MASH cast was seemingly ready to completely freeze Gary Burghoff out, a stunning revelation changed the entire trajectory of this legendary feud. You see, the narrative has always been that Gary was simply a villain behind the camera. But what the public didn't know, and what the cast was desperately trying to navigate, was that Burghoff was privately spiraling through a brutal, heart-wrenching divorce, battling severe depression, and fighting to survive as a newly single father. The tension wasn't just ego, it was a man actively breaking down in plain sight. And this exact moment of absolute crisis is when Alan Alda, the undisputed leader of the 4077, decided enough was enough. Alda was about to deliver an ultimatum that wouldn't just address the tantrums, but would permanently alter the course of television history. Alan Alda was not just Hawkeye Pierce. Behind the scenes, he was the moral center, the primary writer, a frequent director, and the undeniable captain of the ship. Alda was fiercely protective of the collaborative, ensemble environment that made MASH a masterpiece. He had already fought brutal, exhaustive battles with network executives over censorship, demanding that the show retain its anti-war bite and its emotional authenticity. So, when Burghoff's behavior began to actively sabotage the daily operations and the mental health of the crew, Alda stepped directly into the line of fire. The relationship between Alda and Burghoff had become exceptionally heated. They were two highly intelligent, fiercely stubborn men with completely different approaches to their craft. Alda believed in the power of the ensemble. Burghoff felt incredibly isolated and criminally underappreciated. The boiling point resulted in Alan Alda issuing a chilling, deeply brutal warning to his co-star. Alda didn't just yell. He didn't throw a tantrum. Instead, he used his piercing intellect to deliver a crushing reality check. He essentially warned Gary that his perpetual hostility was not only destroying his current relationships, but that it was going to completely incinerate his legacy. Alda made it clear that Hollywood is a notoriously small town, and the bridge Gary was actively burning was the exact bridge he would need to walk across for the rest of his career. Alda's warning was profound because it cut through the actor's ego directly to the painful truth. He warned Gary that the resentment he was harboring was a poison he was drinking himself, hoping the producers would die. It was an intervention disguised as a confrontation, coming from the exact man on set who held the authority to actually have Burghoff fired. Despite Alda's brutal reality check, the damage was already becoming irreversible. The psychological toll of the sweetness paradox was literally crushing Burghoff from the inside out. Imagine the immense, suffocating pressure of showing up to work every single day, suppressing your own bitter, exhausting reality, and putting on those iconic round glasses to play a naive, virgin farm boy who sleeps with a stuffed bear. It was a daily act of psychological compartmentalization that was doomed to fail. Burghoff's burnout became so severe that it began to violently bleed into his actual reality. In a remarkably haunting interview years later, Burghoff revealed the exact moment he knew he had to escape the show. He was at his home, completely off the clock, relaxing in his backyard pool. Suddenly, a large commercial aircraft flew overhead. Instead of just looking up like a normal person, Burghoff physically froze. His body instinctively tensed up, and he braced himself as if he were radar O'Reilly listening for incoming wounded on the Korean peninsula. The character had completely invaded his nervous system. This terrifying loss of self, combined with the catastrophic breakdown of his marriage and the grueling demands of single fatherhood, finally pushed him over the absolute edge. By the end of the 7th season, Gary Burghoff formally announced he was leaving. Fellow cast members, including Mike Farrell, desperately tried to persuade him to stay. They pointed to the lackluster, failing careers of former MASH stars like McLean Stevenson and Larry Linville, directly warning Gary that leaving the biggest show on television is a massive risk that rarely pays off. But the die was cast. Burghoff returned only briefly in season 8 to film the special 2-part farewell episode, Goodbye Radar, leaving a massive emotional void in the series that was never truly filled. The aftermath of this dramatic departure serves as one of the most compelling case studies in television history regarding the long-term consequences of behind-the-scenes reputation. Exactly as Alan Alda had warned him in that heated confrontation years prior, Gary Burghoff's post-MASH career struggled immensely to find its footing. He was utterly typecast, heavily burdened by the sweetness paradox he had created. The industry only wanted the innocent farm boy, but the casting directors had all heard the whispered rumors of the difficult, angry man behind the glasses. However, time and distance have a unique, powerful way of healing profound wounds. In 2008, Gary Burghoff published a deeply vulnerable and honest memoir titled To MASH and Back. In this book, he finally stripped away the defensive armor he had worn for decades. He openly addressed his personal failings, his emotional immaturity at the time, and the intense, crushing pressures that caused him to lash out at the people who cared about him the most. Most incredibly, Burghoff revealed that after years of deep reflection, he finally understood the weight of his actions. He sat down and wrote a heartfelt, deeply apologetic letter directly to Alan Alda. He apologized for his on-set behavior, for the explosive tantrums, and for the toxic environment he had helped foster. He finally recognized that Alda's brutal warning all those years ago wasn't an attack. It was a desperate, caring attempt to save him from himself. The story of Alan Alda and Gary Burghoff is a masterful reminder that the art we consume is created by deeply flawed, heavily burdened human beings. The laughter, the tears, and the profound moral lessons of MASH were not created in a vacuum of perfection. They were forged in the hot fires of personal conflict, massive egos, and the agonizing struggle to separate the actor from the legendary icon. Gary Burghoff gave the world one of the most pure, innocent characters to ever grace a television screen, but it cost him a massive piece of his own soul to do it. The sweetness paradox proves that sometimes the brightest lights on camera hide the darkest shadows behind the scenes. Ultimately, the fact that these actors could push past their bitter rivalries, survive their own personal demons, and deliver a piece of television history that still resonates half a century later is nothing short of a creative miracle. And as you dive deeper into the hidden histories of classic television, you will quickly realize that the scripted drama on the screen is rarely a match for the raw, human drama unfolding in the dressing room. Keep questioning the narrative, because the truth is always more fascinating than the fiction.